Our hope, and I believe it's shared by many of us in education, is that early childhood education and early learning programs like all-day kindergarten will be the great equalizer, the social justice component of a quality public education system where children in places of poverty or need will move out of isolation and come into places where we will challenge them in different ways, that they'll be looking at learning and literacy and numeracy in a different way.
I really like to come to school every day.
Some of the questions our JK parents had, I was getting, well, will somebody be at the bus to meet them? Will somebody make sure they eat their lunch? Will somebody be as nurturing and caring and loving as I am with my child, basically is what they were saying. And I was able to reassure them that that's what teachers and educational assistants and everybody in the school is all about, caring for children. And we were definitely going to be there for their little 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and making sure that, nothing was too much for them.
I like to learn reading. I like to learn to read.
Improving literacy skills is a focus here at Plantagenet Public School, and this is done in the kindergarten room by exposing students to both experiential and activity-based learning.
We encourage the writing and the correct way to hold the pencil, the correct formation of the letters, and what a word is, what a sentence is, so that when they get into grade 1, they're ready to write sentences and to write stories. I'm continually presenting new material and new things to them. They're just swimming and they're learning so much that it's very rewarding.
Numbers, alphabets, everything is learned a lot faster than his brother and sister have with the every other day kindergarten classes.
It's so fun that I can't even stop going to school. Because I want to go to school on weekends.
The learning is more than doubled because they're not forgetting anything.
By coming every day, all day, I see them far more often. I learn their strengths and their weaknesses faster. And so when they go on to grade 1, I'm better able to report to the grade 1 teacher and also to inform the parents. If I see someone needs a little more work in one area, I'm able to communicate that to them.
We wanted their children to like coming to school, and we wanted them to know that we cared about them and we would take just as good care of them as if they were our own children.
We run in the gym and then we act like an animals.
The students know this is the EQAO dress, so when I wear it to school on the first day of EQAO, the students know we're starting and it's time.
Previously at this school, EQAO wasn't a focus, and I think it was maybe the attitude that these kids aren't going to be able to do well anyways, why put the stress on them?
I came in and the kids said, no, we can't read. We can't read, we can't do it, and reading's my thing. I'm my reading specialist, so I came in with all my books and all my language things, and the kids looked at me like I had 3 heads.
Several years ago when our current administrator came on board, she said she was very concerned with our literacy, that children weren't reading enough. And so the big push was going to be on literacy. She said, I don't care if they get 0 on math, I want them to read. So the big push, not just in my classroom, not just in the primary division, the big push within the entire school was literacy. These kids need to be able to read.
We break our classes up into different leveled groups and focus our teaching to help support those students on those levels.
So they're in a smaller group. They're not in with kids that are above them or kids that are below them, so they're a lot more confident. Every kid's participating and teachers are making it fun, and we're coming up with ways that make their learning active.
We also had to make the kids feel that they had an attitude, a can-do attitude, because many of them come here feeling almost defeated. So we began a lot of morale boosters, our good news assemblies that we have every 5 weeks. We're winners here at Westminster, and they need to know that on a daily basis.
I think the greatest success that we have had at Westminster Public School, and it's what led us to be a lighthouse school, is that we build the relationships with the kids, but then we acknowledge where the weaknesses are and we intervene.
Working with the kids that have learning disabilities and absolutely hate putting pencil to paper, working with those kids and sharing with them how to use the assistive technology and being able to scribe for them has been amazing. these kids have amazing ideas and amazing potential, and they never get it on paper. And once they get it on paper and they're proud of themselves, how confident they become at something they've been so poor at their entire school careers.
So we pushed the literacy, and the nice thing was that year our literacy scores went up in reading, but they also went up in writing and math. So when you stress the literacy, it carries over into other subject areas. The collaborative effort we have here deals with sharing of resources, sharing of ideas, being able to team teach with each other, being able to go and see best practices.
Our parent council, which over the 3 years has gone from 2 members, which I recruited at a Tim Hortons meeting, to now we have about 25 to 30 active members.
One of the things that I really like about Westminster Public School is that we have a varied economic background of families, and I like the approach of the school with that, because the challenges that those families are facing is not swept under the carpet. It's acknowledged, it's respected, and they work their programs around that.
We were recognized after 3 years as a school on the move because despite a lot of odds, socioeconomic odds and so forth, our school scores improved greatly, doubled in fact.
We are so proud of our kids. We said to them, you deserve this. You worked very, very hard.
So then, as the second year progressed, we looked at writing. Now this year, we've transferred into math. Over the 3 years, the staff and the students take up the torch, really. They want to do better and better. And from my perspective, it's not the scores that matter. Really, it's exciting, but it's not the scores that matter. They're an indication or a benchmark. But really, to me, it's the good learning that's going on, the teaching practice that's improving in our school, and how the students are feeling about themselves.
When you see a bold goal like 90%, it has an impact on the individual student, but it can change the trajectory for an entire family.
I think if we work on our islands, and I'm at Tugwin now and we're doing great and we have a 90% graduation rate and or close to it, and if we just stay there, I don't think it's going to happen. I think what needs to happen is that the skills that we have here at Tugwin, the things that we've done that are positive, we need to get out and share them. Likewise, we need the other schools and the things that they've done to share them with us so that we can keep the momentum going and attain that graduation rate.
We used to come into schools sort of parachute in as program resource teachers and really support principals and teachers in the work that they were doing. But what was happening was we were taking all the responsibility, and therefore the ownership wasn't staying in the schools as far as improving their own student achievement. So we're not the experts anymore, we're the critical friends asking good questions. I mean, we ask questions like, what types of assessments are you currently using? What types of data are you looking at to determine how your students are doing at present? Have you looked at the curriculum, and what types of teaching strategies do you think are effective, and how do you know if they're effective? We really try to get those critical questions out so that teachers and principals start to think about what are they currently doing in their school, and how can they change things in order to see improvement. The way that we're scaling out to the system creates that alignment across schools, not just across classrooms. So it's our school community across Upper Canada that is really involved in every child's education. So it's not just one teacher taking care of one child anymore. it's our system taking care of all our children.
Often in the facilities department, your influence on the 90% graduation rate is very indirect, and to be a little bit glib, it boils down to not getting in the way of the people who really are on the front lines. And so that means we have to be extremely efficient with the use of our resources. We put in place some very rigorous project management practices. One has been the Boundary 2020 process, where we had a rigorous assessment process for requests to changes to facilities. We were able to take our budget and make it spin out very well so that we accomplished most of the main functional requirements at each of our facilities that had requests and got it done on the appropriate timeline. The other major area that our commitment to discipline has really paid dividends is in our capital construction process. So in terms of building new schools, last year we completed Russell High School, and Russell High School was completed at a cost of about $270 per square foot. When we actually implemented some tighter project management practices with the Van Cleek Hill Collegiate Institute, which is underway presently, we got that cost down to about $206 a square foot. And with North Grenville District High School, which is our next school construction project, and has just been approved by the ministry to proceed to the design phase, we're anticipating a construction cost of well under $180 a square foot. All of these cost savings and these decisions have really been made on improved process and not at the expense of students. So the schools are going to be beautiful spaces to learn, but we're just being more efficient about how we choose where schools go, what the location is, and some of the process decisions so that we're not pulling money from other areas of the organization to feed school construction. If I have an efficient floor plan, then I can minimize roofing materials, I can minimize the amount of brick that's required for the outside walls. And although it sounds very mundane and technical, all of these things really add up in the long run. And again, past practice has been that when we receive funding from the Ministry of Education for a project, we have always had to top up that funding with money that we've pulled from other areas of the board's budget. And for North Grenville, it's the first time in our construction projects where we won't have to do that. We are, as a facilities department that looks after custodial services, blessed with a contingent of custodial workers in the school who simply get it. They simply understand that though I'm not in front of the students, teaching the students every day, there are a number of stories of custodians who have gone the extra mile to ensure care for students, to watch students as they walk out to the buses, to make sure that the schools are warm and safe and hospitable environments for the students, and even just that they interact positively with the students on a day-to-day basis. And above all, I think all of our staff understand that they're a part of the same organization, the same Character Always initiative as teachers and principals and people who spend their days working directly with students. I think we're conscious of the fact that the decisions we make, the priorities we put on display symbolically or explicitly, all model for our students and our staff our character.